What's going on, everybody? Down South 77 here again, and this is 3-Star Draw, an adult collector channel where we talk G.I. Joe, mostly G.I. Joe classified. Every now and then we'll take a look at some other stuff from some other lines that I like to pick up and show you guys before I stick it on the shelf. And today we are going back to G.I. Joe. Oh, happy day. He finally showed up. My San Diego Comic-Con Once a Man Cobra Commander finally made it to me. Funny story about this Cobra Commander. This was the third one that I ordered, and it's the first one that I got. So let's rewind and talk about this giant debacle. There's no other way to put this entire experience of getting this thing than a debacle. I guess you could also call it a cluster. Well, I've already made a video or two about this, given my thoughts on it. I've been pretty vocal about it. Most people seem to agree with me. And I want to recap the situation of trying to get this thing. First off, let me start out by saying, if there is going to be a figure that is going to be really hard to get, really not unobtainable, because a lot of us obtained it, but hard to obtain, it should be something like a Comic-Con exclusive, even more so than something like PulseCon. The reason why is it's an exclusive. It's an event exclusive to that event, and I'm not even going to lie. I'm glad that they actually give us the opportunity to buy it, because we weren't there. Most of us. I wasn't there. A lot of people weren't there, so we're lucky that we get to pick at the leftovers. That part, I am not at all complaining or upset about. The part that I am complaining and a little bit upset about is the way the whole thing was handled from the show moving forward. So going there, they talked about how they're reducing quantities of everything this year. They're going to be made in lesser amounts. Everything is going to be a little bit harder to get. I don't quite understand why they would do that with everything, but that's what they've been telling us. So far, we really haven't seen that pan out, have we? Other than a few things. We've seen it with the Vamp, which was the Vamp last year or early this year? I don't even remember at this point. But so we saw it with the Vamp, but I think with the Vamp, they were testing the waters on whether or not people would buy larger vehicles at retail per se. I mean, it wasn't on a shelf. It was a Pulse exclusive, but they were testing the waters to see if people wanted it. They knew people were going to buy it. They already knew, but they didn't want to get stuck with a bunch of $100 items. Okay, sure, lesser quantities of something you knew people were going to buy. A lot of people wanted multiples. I was not one of them. I actually had a second Vamp ordered, but I canceled it because I only need one. So with that, we saw it again with the Ferret. Pulse exclusive. Again, really hard to get, limited run, although it was pretty available if you were on point trying to get it, if you were positioned to where you could get it. When it dropped, it went in and out of stock several times. I have two Ferrets. I hadn't even opened one of them yet, but I got them a couple of weeks apart, probably. Ordered them, or maybe 10 days apart. So again, Pulse exclusive. Then we look at the Tiger Paw. Again, it's an exclusive. It's exclusive to Target. Pulse has fewer of them than Target is going to have. We see that with all of the store exclusives. We've seen it with Range Viper and Big Ben. We've seen it with the Trouble Bubble, the Python Bubble. We've seen it with the Tripwire Roadblock 2-pack now. It's just they get less for whatever reason than their store partner that it's an exclusive for. Still, not really limited quantities of those because you're able to get them in the stores. Now, there's still furious hunts for tiger paws. I think that will let up. But let's go back to the exclusives. So last year with Chuckles, there was a lot of argument over whether or not Chuckles should have been a Comic-Con exclusive. He shouldn't have. So he should have been a regular release figure. Chuckles should have been a standard release figure. There was absolutely no reason for Chuckles to be a deluxe figure price point. None whatsoever for that figure, except for they gave him a bunch of other cool undercover spy stuff because they were going to tie it into the PulseCon exclusive, which was the Crimson Strike Team 3-pack. And they wanted to tie those two together, so they had to beef Chuckles up a little bit, give him some nice packaging, which they do with the exclusives. That is another time that there should be fancy packaging that maybe you pay a little bit more for. And they were trying to tie those two together. Serpentor and Mindbender were tied together. So we've seen that. But Chuckles, Chuckles. I love Chuckles, all right? Chuckles is one of my favorite Joes. Still, I don't think Chuckles was worthy of being a Comic-Con exclusive. So last year when they did Chuckles, they did the whole QR code thing. The QR codes leaked out during the con, ahead of the con, all during the con. People were buying codes and buying Chuckles. I was one of those people. I ain't gonna sit here and tell you I wasn't, because I was relatively new to the line as far as I had not been through a PulseCon or a Comic-Con exclusive. I started collecting early last year. It was my first time. Take it easy on me. I wanted to make sure I got Chuckles because he was an exclusive and because I really liked the character. So I did get a code and I did get Chuckles. When they released Chuckles after Comic-Con, because that whole thing blew up in their face with the codes, when they released him on Pulse, I bought several Chuckles. I had Chuckles out the wazoo. That didn't sound right, but I did. I had a lot of Chuckles, and I traded, and I traded for other things with them. I had several of them, and I finally got down to I have one boxed, and that goes for my boxed collection of the exclusives that I like to get. So they tied him in with the PulseCon exclusive, which was the Crimson Strike Team 3-pack that was way overpriced. We paid about $15 for that box. Cool box. Was it worth the extra price? Well, they're half price on Pulse right now and have been for about 5 or 6 weeks now. So they never sold out of that exclusive during PulseCon because I was going to get 2 or 3 of those and keep for trades. And then they never sold out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stick to the one because I'm not even crazy about it. So I only actually have one. I don't even have another sealed one. I'm hoping they'll go a little bit lower on the Pulse sale. I do want to pick up another set. I've never taken mine out. I've opened it and looked at it. But that being said, I do want to get another one. So PulseCon last year, not limited quantities. We're going to see that damn thing at Ollie's before it's over with. We saw Sergeant Slaughter at Ollie's, right? I know. I bought 3 of them. One for trade, and I'm making customs out of 2 of them someday. Again, end of the year last year, PulseCon, not limited quantities with those still everywhere. So let's go to this year. Raptor, right? It's going to be Raptor. Raptor's the SDCC exclusive, we thought, up until 2 or 3 weeks before SDCC, whenever it was, which I was happy for, by the way, because I don't like leaks. I don't want leaks. I want some surprise left. I hate all these leaks. It's the way of it. Leaks. They leak. Didn't happen with the eel, but it's happened with everything else. So I don't care for leaks. So I'm glad they pulled the old switcheroo and give us the once a Man Cobra Commander. I am. This was a figure that I never really knew that I actually wanted. I'd seen the 3 3/4 customs that had been made over the years. There were several of them out there. Had I have been actively going back and collecting 3 3/4 or collecting 3 3/4 newer stuff, I would have definitely hunted down one of those custom once a man's because it looks so cool. I always thought, if they ever did a figure out of that, it would be a very cool figure. So they announce it, and everybody is like, oh my God, they're doing Once a Man Cobra Commander. How stupid! What a stupid exclusive. I hate Cobra Law. I hate them. I'm not buying that. Yeah, bullshit. Like, bullshit. Yeah, everybody that said that, almost. I'm looking at you, if you said that and you didn't buy one, good for you for sticking to your word. But most everybody who said I'd never buy that was doing that refresh just like all the rest of us last Monday morning. Most everybody was. So it comes, they announced they're doing this lottery system for Comic-Con, right? I wasn't there, so I don't have firsthand experience of how it worked, just what I read and what I saw online. They're doing this lottery system, and what did they say? Not everybody will be guaranteed to get one. There are limited quantities this year. Not everybody's going to be able to get one. You're going to get one. You can get one while you're there. Okay. All the rest of us folks that don't go to San Diego or couldn't go or whatever, I can't go to San Diego. I can't afford to go to San Diego. I'd love to. I think it'd be too many people for me. It might freak me out, but I think I'd like to go. Anyway, it ain't happening. So we didn't get to go. People there, they go, they do their lottery system or whatever. And of course, you see a couple of them pop up online because, of course, you do. And so that goes on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and we get to Sunday. And what do? They lift the limits. Somebody tell me that was there, because I want to see if what you tell me matches what other people have told me, because I've got conflicting reports. I've heard that they, one, completely lifted the limits from the one per person or anybody that had actually won their lottery, and two, that they just opened it up to everybody. Like, everybody that didn't have the lottery thing could go in and buy them. And then the other thing was, I've heard conflicting reports on how many people were able to buy. I've heard that people were able to go in, buy as many as they wanted, and I've heard that there was a cap on there. I've heard one person say he knew somebody that bought 6 cases of them. I don't know how accurate that is, because anybody that walks up and's like, hey, give me 6 cases of those exclusives that are only supposed to be one per person to certain people that won a lottery, even Hasbro's going to know what's going on. So I don't know. Y'all tell me. I've heard different things. Either way, people were buying the shit out of them, wasn't they? They were buying just a bunch. Like, yeah, however many. Just like, give me an armload of them. Here's the Visa. Cha-ching. It's going to be cha-ching when I get home and take pictures of these things. It's going to be cha-ching on eBay. So they do that. Everybody's like, oh, when are the rest of us poor souls going to get a chance? Because they announced they would be on Pulse. Speculation was last Monday, the 5th. And I don't think they confirmed it until Saturday or Sunday last weekend, one of the two, that they actually come out and said that he was going up at the time, right? So of course I wanted to get him. Cobra Commander is my favorite character. I want every version of Cobra Commander, and like I said, I thought if they ever made this figure, it would be really cool. Cool looking figure, and goes with the other Cobra Commanders. So of course I was trying it, and when it went live, I talked about in the first video I did, that was my issue, was when it went live, like, it never populated for me while I was refreshing. And then we found out that the app was having all kinds of problems, and because they just updated the app right when we went through the last debacle with these figures with Road Pig and Raptor and all of that, the app was messed up then, and it's never been quite right. It's like when you're taking medicine and they're trying to get the dosage figured out. That's what their IT department must be doing over there. It's like they're rotating people in and out. They got interns working in that shit or something. I don't know. So the app, for me, he never populated in the app. Now, my cousin got one that first morning in the first, I don't know how many minutes it was the first morning. I know how many it was the second, but it was like maybe 5 minutes. I've heard 6, something like 5 or 6 minutes. But by the time I got to it, he was sold out. My cousin was checking under the Comic-Con exclusive category where you could click on and then you could see all of the Comic-Con exclusives. He went to it that way and had no problem. My buddy up in Washington State, same thing. He went to it, ordered it, no problem. By the time I ever saw it show up, it was already out of stock. It was like Tiger Paw trauma all over again, except this time we knew they were actually dropping it, right? But here's the thing. Limit of 5. Limit of 5. Why was it limited to 5? Why 5? They've released stuff that has been limited to 2, to 3, to 1. There's been stuff that's been you could only buy 1. Why in the world were these limited to 5 per person online? I'm not going to rehash that whole thing. If you want, you go back and watch that video. It's last week's video. It's still there. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I talked pretty extensively. I had screenshots, all that stuff. Why in the world would you make that 5? People want this. Does Hasbro just not freaking care? I mean, they're worried about their money. They're worried about moving product, and what better way to move product than let people buy 5 at a time of something that you're already telling us is a limited stock, and not everybody that was there at the event would even be able to buy, calling bullshit. Why would you make it 5 when you've got all these other people clamoring, trying to get it? People that wanted it like me and people that said they didn't want it like a lot of other people. Why 5? I will never be able to understand that. Nobody will ever be able to explain that to me other than they wanted to hurry up and move them and get them out of the warehouse. Bigger sales, maybe it makes the sales numbers look good if people are buying more at a time. They know what's going to happen to them, and they don't care what happens on the secondary market. They couldn't care less. They've already made their money. It's like all the stuff that goes to Ollie's and Ross. They've already been paid for it. Hasbro's already got that money in their pocket. They're already out buying blow with that money or whatever the hell they're doing with it. It's not hiring IT people, I can tell you that. So all I can figure is they're trying to get the product out of the warehouse by doing that. I don't know. But they already know what's going on. They know what's happening to these figures. They're on eBay for, they're averaging on eBay 75, 80 bucks. If you look at the sold prices, that probably will come down a little bit because Chuckles was too at first, as more people get last week's orders shipped to them, and the couple of times it's gone back up I've seen since then, it's gone back up at least 3 more times. I actually was able to order another one on Wednesday when they went back up, and actually I canceled that order because I'm like, well, I've got three coming. Sorry, my allergies are jacked up today. I've got 3. But the third one that I bought, which is actually this one that I got on Tuesday, I didn't even touch on the timing screw up. So they screwed the time up on Tuesday for the second drop. It was going to be 8 a.m. Eastern, then they changed it to 11 a.m. Eastern, and then somehow they were actually live. If you checked into it a certain way on Tuesday, you could click add to cart, add it to the cart, and you could actually buy it. That is actually how I got mine. That was the first order that I got on Tuesday. I ordered those 2 when they screwed that up right before they fixed it. Then when it actually went live at 11:10 my time, just as an experiment, I've got another one and I wanted to see if I could get through checkout with it. I could, and I did, and that is the one that's sitting here. The first order, like, it's not even. I don't. They just left. I got this one today. The other one just left the warehouse today. As I get this one, the first order I made of 2, it shipped today. I don't know what's going on over there, but anyway, so go back to that. It's gone up a couple of times. I actually have another one in my cart. Now, I don't know if I'll ever be able to check out with it because the few that are going back up, I'm guessing out of this first run are probably canceled orders. Like the one that I canceled, maybe that it's that stock filtering back in. I don't know. They've leaked out a few and it lasts like a couple of minutes. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to check out with that fourth one or not. And I don't really need it. That would be something that I would hold on to for future trades. And once we see what this stock does, because I mean, there's still people that didn't get Chuckles. I don't know how, because Chuckles was up solid for a good 2 weeks after initially going up on Pulse last year. Either way, Hasbro, man, come on, man. Like, what are you even doing over there? So I've got one just chilling in my cart. Will I ever get it? Probably not, because when they go up, it lasts like 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, and word spread. They sell out quick because they don't have that many of them. I guess. I don't know. So that's my soapbox for this. Like, I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing. They're telling us limited quantities on this stuff. Nothing else that they have released has been limited quantities to where you can't actually get it somewhere else. Back to the Vamp, look at the Stinger. You can buy the Stinger anywhere except Pulse. Like, people are already starting to get them. Like, you can order the Stinger anywhere other than Pulse, and it's not an exclusive. So hopefully that's what they learned from the Vamp, is people do want this thing. I hope we see some other runs of Vamps, because people that weren't able to get it really want it. Then again, it was also up for like 5 weeks before it sold out. So it was there. Like, you know, if you had a legitimate excuse to why, you know, you couldn't purchase it at the time, that okay, but it was available. So you can't really argue the Vamp wasn't available, because it was. Something like this though, like, yeah, I think the limit was 5 on Vamps. So, but something like this where they come out and they say, hey, there's only going to be so many and we don't know if people are going to be able to get them that are there. Yeah, they are. I think more of these are going to come out. It's always going to hold a higher price tag because it is an exclusive. You know, I don't know. I don't know where the market for it's going to wind up falling. I see it settling somewhere along the lines of like what a true Snake Supreme or a Regal maybe sells for, you know, somewhere in the $70 range, maybe, when it's all said and done. I don't know, but I had to get that off my chest before we take a look at the figure, because I'm really frustrated, and they tell us one thing and they do another, and it's constant, like they're habitual line steppers. I don't know what the deal is with it. Hopefully they'll get things worked out over there, but I hope they at least fix their freaking IT system. Okay. Woosah. All right, let's go ahead and check this dude out. I've heard a lot about him. My friends have him. My cousin has him. Hopefully you're going to have him soon too. Once a Man Cobra Commander.
Hey, this is your faceplate.
Was my mask, just as I was once a man.
Just want to look at one thing here. Opening the shipper box. It's always fun opening these shipper boxes if you're somebody that opens shipper boxes. Oh, there he is. Okay. So I'll look at that in a minute. I wanted to show not that, but this. This is something I haven't seen a lot of people talk about. This is in here too. My cousin opened his up and actually specifically wanted to make sure I was aware that this was inside there. I think maybe some people have opened this and not seen this. So this is a protective sleeve that protects the outer box. It's got the G.I. Joe there, and then on the back, I was once a man. So this actually goes over this part of it. I didn't even know that this was in here, and it was probably in another review. I've only watched 2 other reviews on this figure. No, I take that back. I've watched 3. I watched Travis Movies because he actually got it at SDCC and went up and did his review in his hotel room, which is exactly what I would have done. And then I watched Punk's review, and I watched Aaron the Toy Enhancer's review because I figured I owed it to him because he bought this thing on eBay. And you know, it's his money. He wanted it. I probably would have done the same thing. If I hadn't have been able to grab it, because that is where I bought my, no, I didn't buy my Mindbender and my Serpentor there. But I did buy them on the secondary, so that's kind of my point. So we got that. We've seen it. We got Roadblock and Snaky and Globulus, Nemesis. This is cool. I mean, we've seen it by now, so it's a cool artwork there. Same thing on the back. And then over here, you do have that artwork there. So I like it. All this is in green. This has got the cool, like the sickly looking numbers on it. Very nice artwork like we've seen in all of these PulseCon and SDCC exclusives. Got a flap and Velcro there. So there we go on the inside. I usually don't have this other ring light on yet, but so there's all this stuff. And then over here, I like this because this is like the Cobra Commander that we're getting. Like, this is the retro that's coming out, and you can tell that's not art. Like, that's a shot of the figure, and maybe all this is probably added digitally, but this, I mean, this is the figure. This is the toy. So you've got the spores here. You got the giant clam. You got Nemesis flying around up there, and then there, get ready for it, because that's what we're going to be getting. I've called it. I mean, everybody knows Globulus is coming. That's how we're going to get him. I think he's going to be about a $80 price point, and they're going to do something with his little pod. I think perhaps detachable pod, and then the tail will come separate, articulated. But I definitely think we're going to get that pod when we get Globulus. So there's everything that he comes with. I can't wait to get him out. And there's this creepy little snake dude. So I'm going to go ahead and get him open, and let's take a look at him. So how he comes in the tray. That's what he looks like before we get everything out. Well, at least Hasbro is being consistent with the way that they are packing this stuff, because I like to never got these hands out of here. I'm not even kidding, y'all. It's like Mutton Junkyard all over again. So we got his backpack here, and I did grab my HasLab. Now, no, I have not opened my HasLab Cobra Commander as bad as I want to. I know the retro is coming, and I don't need the Mickey Mouse logo. I can wait. I didn't have Mickey Mouse Cobra Commander when I was a kid, so I don't really have an affinity for having to have an open one. So he comes with pretty much all of the same hands that this one comes with. All of the hands are the same ones, same knife, and does have the same pistol. So he comes with everything this one comes with, minus the globe with the snake. But hey, you don't need that because you got an actual crazy little creepy snake. So go ahead, and we've seen that stuff. So I do want to look at the backpack. Backpack is also the same. I forgot the backpack. I thought maybe that would spin. It's probably kind of good that it don't. So then we have his alternate helmet head that we've come to know and love. And I'm looking forward to the retro with the vac metal on it. That is going to be awesome. I'm kind of surprised they did not do it here with that one coming out. I really thought that this one would have. I mean, it is nice and shiny. It looks great. But I really thought they would go the vac metal route. I mean, they pulled out all the stops with everything else with the lenticular box. I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I'm not disappointed. I'm just kind of surprised, and I do wish it had it, but it still looks good either way. We got the white stripe up there going to Wichita. So we do have that on there, and then this is what I really love. This was just the chef's kiss for this figure, coming with the mask that shattered, and that's actually... Seen a couple other people pointed out. I think Punk with Toys talked about it. This is paint, but it looks damn good for that to be paint. It doesn't look like paint. Like, I can't believe there's not texture on that. And then you get the inside of it. Really cool detail on the insides. Really, really nice sculpting on there. You look at it there, it looks like the paint's kind of little spot right there, but I mean, you're not going to see that. That's just because it's up in the camera. But I really love the inclusion of this face mask, and I think this will be the thing you're going to have to make sure you don't lose, is this face mask, because if you don't have him displayed with it, or you got it sitting near him or something, it's going to be really easy to get knocked off the shelf. Fortunately, if I do it in here, this is actually something that might show up on these dark hardwood floors. I might actually be able to find this. Well, maybe not if it lands that way. Look like a taco. Like having snake tacos. Taco flavored kisses. Let's look at this creepy little bastard. This was the thing that blew everybody away the most, I believe, with this set, was the inclusion of the half transformed Cobra Commander. This thing is like pure nightmare fuel. The blue eyes continue on with this guy, really stand out, really pop. So he's got 5, 10 eyes. Maybe you could get a job in whatever the next Game of Thrones spinoff is going to be. He could be the 10-eyed Cobra and see the past. Really awesome detail on the little snake. It does look like a hooded cobra. It continues down here. And I've seen other people point out it looks like this is an articulation cut, and it's not. It's just kind of, I guess, where they glued the pieces together. I hope that holds up. I don't want to be trying to play around with this guy and the bottom half of his tail pops off. Now, it's probably got a peg. I'm assuming it's not just stuck together. It's probably got some kind of a male, female in, and then it's glued and they're put in there. So hopefully that will hold up over time, because you're going to be continuously wrapping this thing around somebody. Just like how the sculpt works here with the scales, where he has the twist and he's twisting upward. Looks really well. Really, really well done. He's got little claws. What happened to his other 2 fingers? He's only got 6 fingers. Where did his other 4 fingers fall off? He's got a thumb and, like, what would that? It's like those 2. Isn't it? Like, I don't know. You're scared of the claw. Either way, so you got articulation at the shoulders here. They've even got some scales there at the top of the shoulder for him. Really, really well done. The mouth, if you've ever seen the inside of a snake's mouth, really, really accurate detail on there. And he got his little tongue, and he's got a lot of tongue in there, doesn't he? That thing's like, no wonder he talks with a lisp. Really nice. It's a really, really nice, very nice. So I do have roadblock over here. I have that roadblock. I know it's not accurate, but I don't have the other version of roadblock open. Mine's still boxed because when I got into the line, this roadblock was out, and I knew this was the one that I wanted to use for my shelf. So I may open the other one. I don't know. I've got both the variants. Anyway, let's put him up there. Order those hella dope crates. You might be a snaky surprise inside. So let's look at the man of the hour here. I've been really excited to get this figure, get him in my hand. I'm a big Cobra Commander fan, so got the dirt at the bottom. Would have been nice if the pants were ripped, but I mean, I get it. You know, they're reusing. This is reuse of the bottom half of this figure, a little bit lighter blue, and then they do put the dirt at the bottom of the pants on this one. You got the silver around the belt buckle, as opposed to the red on this one. All of this stuff on here on his jacket, this has all been ripped away. Got his lapels folded back over here like it is here, except it's all just flipped open. Buttons are gone. There's a cut there in the sculpt, so I guess the buttons could theoretically be on the other side of this, but it does have them up at the shoulders, and it's got his pins at the top on the front of his shoulders. Those are there. We lost the collar. We lost everything there. So see how he moves out of the package. Does have pinless double jointed elbows. Moves good. That sounds good. I like that sound. That's a sound that means it might not fall over. He really stand. He will stand pretty well, actually. That's what I like to see. So you will be able to take this vest off. I'm not going to remove mine, but you can take it off without having to heat it up. Let's get a look at the scales under there. So this is a lot more pronounced in person than it looked on some of the pictures. Is the chest cut there with the ratchet in it, but it still does a good job of blending it in with the scales. I actually stopped it at one of the cuts for the scales, and these are the scales that would be on the bottom of a snake. I can't remember what they're called. I'm sure somebody probably will, and put it in the comments. But it looks nice. You got your different type over here, different type of scales. The sculpt work on this figure is fantastic. It continues down the arms, and on the elbows you've got the same as you got here on the side of the chest. You got them ashy elbows. You need to get some jergens on them elbows, Cobra Commander. This I command. Jacket's all torn up and dirty down there at the bottom. It's just really, really well done figure. And then, of course, we got to look at his face. Got his 10 eyes there, and they've moved a little bit. And it looks like they've moved around. They've changed places. As he shrunk, his eyes got closer together and kind of more centered and more grouped together. That's one thing I was wondering. I didn't pay attention when I watched a few reviews I've watched. So he does have the upper scales around the mouth, really, really pronounced. It actually almost, from back here, I kept saying it looks like he's got a big old, like a handlebar mustache or something. Back of the head, scales on it. Paint blends together really well. This reminds me of like Serpentor. Reminds me of that a little bit. Of course, it's not quite as shiny, is it? So is this? Yep, this is trigger finger hands. The gun's been kind of cut down a little bit from the other versions of Cobra Commander. I think Snake Supreme come with the gold one, and I think Regal come with it. I'm trying to get his finger on the trigger guard that's absent, but it fits right on the trigger. Looks good. I'm glad they gave him this gun, although he did use a regular laser, the Cobra laser pistol too. Kind of looks like a Mauser or something without the magazine. I like this. This is a nice size weapon. It's, you know, exactly something he would carry. Something he could pull out on you and shoot you in the back. You would never know he had it. So he does have his knife. His knife that's actually more of a knife than many of the classified knives, although it is a little blunt there. But hey, these are for kids, right? Got some gold on the hilt of the knife. This is more of a dagger. I'd call this really a dagger more than a knife, I think. And that will pop right in there as that falls. Hopefully this will stay up on this figure. It's kind of sketchy on a lot of these figures staying up. I cut there. So he feels really good. He feels a lot like the retros feel. A backpack that actually goes in and might stay in. Hey, look how far that goes in. That's what she said. Let's go ahead and check out the helmeted head on here. I don't think many people are going to use this helmeted head with him, though. I don't think I will, unless I'm doing pictures or something. So fits on there well. I didn't hear it pop on there, but it's on there. Looks good on there. He's got just the appropriate amount of snake neck showing because he lost this. He lost his black choker, whatever the hell that's supposed to be. Surely it's not a turtleneck. Save that for Firefly and Wreckage. So there he is. I like this figure. I'm pretty impressed with him. He's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but he's a whole lot more people's cup of tea than they let on, I think. I've heard that the gun will kind of fall out of here. It doesn't fit in there very securely. Just make sure we're putting it in there. Actually stays in a little better that way. Maybe that's the way it's supposed to go. I was thinking the handle went out here, but it actually stays in like that. So, you know, it's going to stay on better like that than the other way. That's for sure. Seems like it makes more sense for it to go this way, but no, there's no way it's supposed to fit in there like that. It's got to go in upside down. I don't remember how the original fit in there, honestly. And let's check out his faceplate, see what kind of hands he's got. The fist hands, he's got the pointy hand, and he's got the grasp hand. So these are the hands you're going to have to use the faceplate with. Let's see if we can get him to hold it. He does hold it, but he doesn't hold it very tight, but he does hold it. So I think this head holding this, we'll put the graspy hand on. I like the graspy hand. Let's see if these do come off. So the cuffs of his gloves will come off. So he's got the graspy reaching out hand. Let's put old snake face back on there. Maybe. That one's... There we go. Oh, that was a good pop. That sounded good. So there we go. Got him reaching out, grasping. Was once a man. I once could stand. I've gotten so much crap over, well, you don't take time to do all the poses when you do your video. No, I'm just trying to see if you can pose it when I do my video. I'll save that for doing pictures. At least the ankles are nice and tight. I'm trying to get him to kind of like he's lurching forward. Doesn't help that I'm also doing this on corkboard either. So there we go. So let's look at old Snakey here. I don't know if I've seen anybody try to put him around this roadblock, but I can't imagine it's going to be any harder than trying to put him around the other roadblock. So there we go. So he does go around there pretty good and get him up like he's holding on to his shoulder. And you're going to be able to rotate him around. He's hanging on. But can you get him all the way around where they're strangling each other? That's what I want to see. Kinda. You could probably heat this up. Like they're trying to make out there. I don't think they got that close together in the cartoon. But he's pretty bendable, so you can have, yeah, that looks okay. I mean, other than Roadblock's got a broken wrist, it looks like, but like he's just trying to push him away. That don't look too bad, I don't think. So you'll be able to play around with this guy and get him in some different stuff. Roadblock with the way his neck is angled and the way his head is, he's always like he's just so lost. I don't need to see clear to fracture your rear. Kingpin. Yeah, I got those guys up there just mostly from like size comparison, but honestly, this Kingpin and this Mythic Legion Skeleton Builder 2 have not left my desk since I opened them. Every time I've tried to put them on the shelf and I sit here, I take them back off and play around with them. I don't know if that cut, if that little break in the paint, is everybody's that way. That's kind of pronounced. That stripe, it's not a seam or anything, but you can definitely feel it in the paint. I don't know if that's supposed to be there or not. That one doesn't have the stripe. I don't know. I mean, it's uniform, so I'm thinking it's probably intentional, but I don't know. Let me know. Does y'all's look like that? So there he is, y'all. There is once a Man Cobra Commander. See if we can get him up here on some Hella Dope Toys crates. You can order those over at Hella Dope Toys, handmade by Random Diorama, but this isn't a review on those. I'm just showing them off because they're awesome. All right, I'm going to do something I don't usually do, and I'm going to go back and we're going to do a final thought on this whole debacle. Hey, I'm still sitting over here. I didn't feel like scooting back over. So, Once a Man Cobra Commander, number 130, San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. A lot of stuff surrounding this figure. Do you need him in your collection? If you're a Cobra fan, if you like the movie, if you can tolerate the movie, or if you just collect Cobra Commander, I think you need him in your collection. I need him in mine. It is a really good figure, fantastic presentation with the box, the slip cover for the box, the little snake dude, which is just absolutely just creepy as hell. I mean, this thing is awesome. It really is. I wish the tail articulated, but nice inclusion of putting this in with him. The set is absolutely worth $40 for what you're going to get with it. Is it worth it on the secondary market? That's going to be up to you. It's going to be harder to get than most of your average figures, obviously. I think it's probably worth it. I would pay a little extra for this figure to have it in my collection if I had to, but I would wait for now and see how the market shakes out. Wait till more people get them in hand. Wait till everybody that got 5 of them online gets them all in hand and see how it shakes out. If you've got extra stuff, you can probably trade for one. I see a lot of people wanting to trade for one. You could probably score some pretty sweet trades. If you have one and you're just looking to complete your collection. If you don't have one and you got extra stuff, get rid of some of that extra stuff and get one. The value is really up to you, but for me, I think it's worth it. I'm not even going to give this guy a rating. I mean, he's He'd be up there on my Yeehaw meter. I just wanted to give a review, give you what I thought, see if I thought it is worth the hype. Is worth the hype of the figure. I don't know if it is worth the pain in the ass that Hasbro's made it to go through to get this figure for those of us that are fighting for the rest of them. I had a relatively easy time getting him the second day, but I don't think I was in the majority. So I say pick him up. He's unique. If you absolutely disregard G.I. Joe the movie and you don't want anything to do with it, I understand. Believe me, I do. I look at G.I. Joe the movie the same way that the Marvel What If series is done. Like, look at it like we never got an honest conclusion to the Sunbow cartoon, because we really didn't. Just look at it like a alternate dimension, multiverse for G.I. Joe, and it'll be fine, I think, if you look at it through that lens. That's what I do. Kind of like the Halloween remake, like Rob Zombie's Halloween. Like, I like it. It's just different. You have to look at it differently. So, guys, if you like this very long but honest review, I'd appreciate it if you hit that thumbs up, that like, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time on 3 Star Draw.